We're waiting on one other person. I know that's literally coming in the door, I think, in a few minutes. So.
Oh, it got quiet.
Never seen it this
It
quiet.
got quiet. That scares me.
We're waiting on you to sing.
Well, I will tell you that Bill Horner did teach me to dance on election night, so I still dance some for certain birthdays that Linda is well aware of in Marcy. So. We may have another performance here in a few minutes. So.
You do that before we beat Duke every time?
I do. Well, we'll go ahead and get started because I think he'll be here in just a minute. Thank you for coming. I think I know all of you in the room, and most of you know me, but I'm RV, and I am so pleased that you guys came today to be with us on our very first media event. Dr. Chapman and I spoke about this probably the first week that she was here, and we first of all want to tell you how much we appreciate what you do as a media to keep people informed about all of the good things that's happening at our community college in all three counties. And so as a former media member, I'm very much aware of having to do back to school stories, and we thought this would be an outstanding opportunity to kind of tell you what's going on at the college and give you the opportunity to give you some copy for 2 or 3 days worth if you're looking for that. So thank you, and thank you for all that you do. I also wanted to tell you that anytime that you need anything in terms of looking for stories, please call me. We have so many good stories and so many good happenings that it's easy to pull together something for you if you need something. Not only success stories, but if you're looking for experts in the field, we certainly have those here at the college who would be glad to help you with those stories. And I'm pleased to say that we had 9 media outlets to say they were coming. I think we're only missing 1 right now. This is being broadcast by 4CNC Television, the CCCC television station, which I think is on local cable 193, but I think it's in all 3 of our counties. So if you are interested in looking at all the comments again, I'm sure you'll be able to. It is my pleasure to introduce to you the chairman of our board of trustees, who has some opening remarks, Mr. Julian Philpott.
Thank you, Arvin. I'll knock everything up. As Arvin said, we're really pleased to have you folks here, and thank you very much for deciding that we're going to participate in this Media Day event. And we do think this is important. You know, we're all about partnerships at Central Carolina Community College, and we look at our media outlets as being a partner to try and get the word out on all the great things we have going here at the college. My wife asked me this morning, when I was getting ready to leave to come over here, what exactly is your role here? And I told her, same thing it always is as a trustee of the college. It's to serve as an ambassador and a cheerleader for our folks here at the college and our students, because we do have a fantastic college and a lot of great things going here. And I will tell each and every one of you here while we're on camera and while you're taking notes, I will tell you we've got the most outstanding administration, faculty, staff, and student body of any community college in this state system and probably in the country. And when I was working with North Carolina Farm Bureau as its corporate secretary and general counsel, I had the opportunity to go and work with a lot of county farm bureaus who were connected with the community colleges in their area. But I'm proud to say that I know from my experience in working with a lot of those county farm bureaus and those community colleges, I know how good we've got it here. And we're just really proud of our folks here, and you're going to hear from them and you'll see the outstanding things that they're developing as an administration and working with the faculty to provide for our student body. Dr. Linda Scoletti, I'd be remiss if I don't mention the mission of the college, which is that Central Carolina Community College serves as a catalyst for individual, community, and economic development by empowerment through accessible lifelong learning. And the vision for the college is that we're going to be and are a nationally recognized world-class leader providing learning opportunities that contribute to the economic progress and cultural enrichment for the students and communities we serve. I think our folks are doing an outstanding job in that. And as a trustee, what's the role of the 16 voting trustees who are appointed by various appointing agencies to the college? We have 16 voting members, and we've got a representative from the Student Government Association that's a non-voting member. Our main job is to ensure that we hire the president. And we don't micromanage the college's trustees. We hire a president who's the captain of the ship and the CEO of the college, and is responsible in hiring the administration. And we approve the hires, but we turn the day-to-day operations over to the president and the administrators. We're supposed to oversee it, but we don't micromanage it. Now, when we hear things from the community, we pass those on to the president, and we have our president, handle those things. But we're awfully proud of the people that we've had in place from day one of this college. We're almost 60 years old now, and from day one of the college, we've had outstanding leaders in the role of presidents here. Many of them, have served for an extended period of years. Some of them, Dr. Hockaday is still here in the county, and he's a big supporter of this community college. And but we're proud of the fact that we just hired our most recent president, Dr. Lisa Chapman, and I'm proud to say that we know we hired quality people because I've been on the board since 2006, and during that time we've had 4 people who have either gotten college presidencies. We've got one now who's a finalist for the presidency of another community college. So I'm hoping that as we continue to hire quality people, other colleges are going to look at us because we are leading. They know we hire outstanding people. But Dr. Lisa Chapman was one of our vice presidents. I was going to say for the almost 60 years she's been here. I'm not going to tell you how many years.
Not 60.
I think she first came when she was about 10 years old.
There you go.
But she has served in a number of capacities in this college, as an instructor and going into all 3 counties, and then serving as the vice president of curriculum. And then she went to the state system. They hired her at the state system office for about 5 years. And then when Dr. Martin retired, Dr. Chapman applied, and the board recently hired her, and she started April 1. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Dr. Chapman. But as I say, we've got an outstanding group of administrators, faculty, staff, and students here. And you'll see from Dr. Chapman, we know that we hired the best possible person we could hire. I had somebody ask, aren't we proud that we hired the first female president here at the college? And I've got 5 daughters, and I'm proud to see, and with the Me Too movement, I'm proud to see women having equal opportunities. But somebody mentioned that at the state system office when we were up there for another event, and I told them, well, the fact is, it's our job as trustees to hire the most qualified person we could hire. Folks, we did that in Dr. Lisa Chapman. So I'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
Well, let me thank you as well for what you do, for making the time to come today. There are a lot of news items you could be looking to report on, and for you to take the time to learn more about what we do here and our interest in serving the community is very much appreciated by all of us up here. I love this college, and I did grow up in this college. I wasn't quite 10. I was a little bit older than that, but I learned about community colleges, how to do community colleges, how important community colleges are right here at Central Carolina. And then as the chairman mentioned, I had an opportunity to go to Raleigh and look at what happens at 57 other colleges in North Carolina for about 5 years. And I also, in the role that I played, I spent a lot of time looking at what was happening across the nation. And I will tell you that the only thing that did was make me even more proud of what is happening here at Central Carolina. We are a phenomenal college. So cheerleader, but it's easy to cheer for a team that you absolutely know is making a huge difference and is doing a great job. And I will also echo what he said about the administration. Because I have been sort of recycled here at Central Carolina, I knew all of these folks, and I was pleased to come back and work with them because we worked as colleagues in different roles and then had an opportunity to learn from them as well. They're a lot of the reason for why we are as successful as we are today, and we do absolutely appreciate when you all help us share opportunities that we can provide for our citizens, because we know that individuals in the areas that we serve don't always know everything we do. Chairman Philpott, good morning. Chairman Philpott talked to you about our mission and our vision. You know, it's our responsibility. So if we think about what that means, we need to provide individuals with effective learning pathways that help them meet job needs, meet employment opportunities. We need to provide the talent pipeline for our current employers and future employers. And with the ever-changing economy now, the impacts of technology, that's something that continues to change for us as well. Those are both incredibly important responsibilities for us. And then we also need to provide enrichment opportunities for our communities to help continue to improve the quality of life. We have a very comprehensive nature. And for us to effectively do all of those things, as he mentioned, or as RB mentioned, we couldn't do that without great partners. And you all are a part of that. But we spend a lot of time partnering with our K-12 schools, our public and private universities, with commerce, our local commerce, with our economic development group, with our chambers, with our public service agencies. If we did not have great relationships with them, we would not be able to serve our communities the way that we need to. And so we are very, very appreciative of the relationship we have with all of our partners. It allows us to do things like have adult high school, have a great dual enrollment program and opportunity that you'll hear more about in just a few minutes, to have great early colleges in the 3 counties that we serve, to have great career and technical education programs, to provide short-term training and education that allows for entrance into the workforce, that allows for retooling, upskilling. We have also a great opportunity to partner with our senior institutions through our transfer agreements. So we have the comprehensive articulation agreement that you know is across the state with our public universities as well as with most of the privates in North Carolina. And then these folks have helped work with our on an individual basis with our senior partners to allow for a lot of specific bilateral agreements with our programs so that we can have a seamless education opportunity, seamless learning pathway for our communities so that we can meet those needs of individuals, so that we can provide the opportunity for economic mobility, so that we can meet the talent pipeline for those current employers and future employers, and so that we can ensure that we're continuing to appropriately support the economic progress not only of our communities but of North Carolina. This college does that phenomenally well. And it's so important to me, not just because I had an opportunity to work here for a number of years, and you kind of see me looking out over here. When I first started working here, this was a field. We played softball in it, where the faculty played against the students, and we lost, just so you'll know. But this was a field, and to be able to look out and see what I see in Lee County, or go down to Harnett County and see the facilities that we have in Harnett County, or over to Chatham and see the facilities because of the partnerships and the support of the community. That is just overwhelming to me. and exciting to me. And I've seen partnerships across the state. We have tremendous partners. The one thing that we know is because we do so many different things, we still end up being the best kept secret sometimes, because people will get very comfortable with knowing the one thing that we did that impacted their lives. They don't realize all of the other opportunities that might be available for them right here. So we want to continue to share that, and we appreciate it every time you help us with that, because not only does that help individuals, it helps our community. And I'll tell you, this college has done a whole lot for my family. So I'm not just speaking about what we can do for other people. And I've shared some stories about how my family has been impacted by graduates at Central Carolina. And I'm going to share 2 stories with you, and they're in the health field. And then I'll introduce Dr. Merritt so the group can begin to give you some more specifics about how we do the things that I'm talking about. But I have 2 children. My husband and I raised our family here. I went to Raleigh to work. I did not move to Wake County. I commuted, and I am so thankful that I'm no longer making that commute. 12 minutes, no stoplights. Love it. Love it. So we raised our family here. My son and his wife, we have a younger daughter, who's 28. My son and his wife are raising their family here. And when my first grandchild was born, I was still the chief academic officer here. And the nursing faculty had asked me to come in about this time of year. Our students are coming back, and they said, come over for the orientation for our nursing program and kind of get them pumped up and thinking about why they're doing what they're doing, because it's high stakes, it's a challenging program, and we all want them to be very well trained, right? So I went over. Okay, my first granddaughter had been born. I went over, I don't think it was this iPad, but I had an iPad with me, and so I did when I taught anatomy and physiology, so I taught nursing students for many, many years. And so I talked to them about the importance of the clinical setting and following all the rules, and we knew that they could do it, and we were so appreciative. And then I just happened to have a picture of my granddaughter, and so I showed them the picture of my granddaughter, and I said, this is why it's so important for you all to do what you do, because you're going to be taking care of the future. And I'd wandered around the room almost like I did now. It's a little hard for me to stand just behind a podium. And I'd wandered around the room, talked to the students. Next day I get a phone call. And the individual says, you talked to the first year class the other day. I said, yes, I did. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, what exactly did I say to the first year class? And there was one young man in that class. And she said, my son is in that class. And I'm thinking, I didn't even point him out, so I'm good. She said, you don't remember me. She said, I had you as a student several years ago. And I thought, oh, I know where this is going. She's going to tell me how much she enjoyed my class, right? What a great teacher I was. That is not where it went. She said, and I remembered when she told me, and I was really, thankful to hear, oh, she came to Central Carolina, had a great experience. Her son is coming to Central Carolina and had a great experience, but it went beyond that. She said, I didn't know Brandon was your son. I said, how do you know Brandon? She said, I'm the charge nurse that is taking care of your granddaughter, because what I didn't tell you is my granddaughter was premature and was at UNC. And so a student that I had the honor of teaching ended up taking care of my grandchild. Fast forward to last week. We moved my mom here a few years ago, and she had some surgery this past week. My mom's 84. And she was in CCH, had great care there. I went to get all of her stuff together because she was being discharged, and the young nurse had come in, and she was going through the steps that she needed to go through and doing all the care that she needed to, and talking to me as well. And when she finished the conversation, she looked at me and she said, now, what is it you do at CCCC? Well, the first thing I did was look down to see if I had, I will tell you, most of the time you see me in the community, I'll have something that has CCCC on it. But I was in my work clothes, and I had taken my name tag off before I walked in to make sure I wouldn't, scratch Mom or anything when I was helping move her around. And I looked down and thought, did I forget to take it off? And I had taken it off. And I said, so how did you know? I said, well, I'm the president. And then she had this look on her face like, nah, I don't think that's what you do over there. She didn't say that, but it was that look. And I said, so how did you know I was at the college? She said, well, I got my associate degree, my nursing degree from the college. And I said, oh, what year did you finish? She said, 2017. Well, I was not here in 2017. I was in Raleigh. And I'm thinking, so how did you still know? And I thought, okay, well, maybe she took some relateds and did some things. And I said, so when did you start over there? And she grinned, and she said, I went through Lee Early College. So in every way, shape, or form, we have the opportunity to provide pathways, touch lives, help people continue to move forward, support their family, and when we do that, it always comes back in blessings on us as well. So thank you again for making the time to be here. I concur with him. Best college in the nation, right here. If there's ever anything we can do for you, please feel free to give me a call, and then I'll turn it over to Vice President Merritt to talk a little bit more about some of our programs.
Morning. Morning. How y'all doing? Well, I'm gonna stick to my script. Probably not gonna tell you touching stories like that, because I just want to give you some information about some of the things that are happening here at the college this fall and into the academic year. Our mission here at the college is to provide broad and intentionally planned programs for our students that lead to great careers and contribute to our local workforce. So we have a number of new opportunities for students this fall, and I want to tell you a little bit about. First, we're really excited that Central Carolina this fall is going to start and initiate here in Lee County the air conditioning, heating, and refrigeration degree. So this is folks have been asking for this degree. We've heard it from our local workforce for years. We've heard it from students. We've heard it from board members. We've heard it from it's been a long time coming. We're finally in a place now where we were able to utilize some of our Perkins funds, some other things to make this happen. But it's going to be housed over at our Lee County out in the Industrial Park at the Howard James Industry Training Center as part of our Center for Workforce Innovation there. But in this program, students are going to receive hands-on training to service and keep it cool like it is in here right now. Keep because who doesn't use air conditioning? But they'll be able to earn their EPA certification. They're going to learn how to install service heat and cooling equipment. One of our welding instructors, Dave Myers, he is part of our industrial systems program. He's also certified HVAC, has lots of years of experience in HVAC. He's been named our lead instructor for heat and air. Has done a great job to get the program started. Make sure the equipment and everything is updated up to industry standards. We've had this equipment, part of this equipment over at the Industry Training Center for a while. It's used during the summer as part of our industrial systems program, but we're just able to leverage that equipment for this new degree program starting this fall. One thing I'm really excited about is that our Dean of Career and Technical Education, Drew Goodson, when we started talking about this program, he really worked hand in hand with Comfort First Heating and Cooling to really look at the program content and the curriculum to make sure that it's going to meet, especially their needs. They were one of the companies that was asking for it, to launch a new registered apprenticeship program embedded in cooperation with heating and with the HVAC program. So we expect to have at least 3 apprentices this fall as working in the heat and cooling degree. So we're just thrilled because those work-based learning opportunities are just so critical to enhancing that talent pipeline, like Dr. Chapman mentioned earlier. So so the HVAC degree, we're excited about that. Provost Hall might mention a little bit later too, but we're Chatham Main Campus in Pittsburgh. We are starting our electrical systems technology program. which is going to train electricians here in our service area. We've seen other community colleges around within our hour radius with a waiting list over the past few years, really the past decade with this program. So. But right now is the right time for Central Carolina to start this program. It's going to complement well in Chatham County with our building construction technology program, our sustainable programs that are already existing there. Graduates are going to be able to be trained to install and maintain electrical systems. They'll work really hand in hand with our building construction program, which builds and constructs a cottage, which is a great hands-on learning experience for our building construction students. But they'll be able to install the electrical systems for that cottage. So it's just going to be a great complement and a great cooperative experience. That program, I think it's almost full, already this fall. So, but that cottage, the students build it. They auction it off every year to go to our proceeds go to our foundation, which is a great learning experience. But graduates of the program are going to receive 2,000 hours credit towards their North Carolina Board of Examiners electrical contractors, which is, it requires 4 years of experience to be able to get that exam or take that exam. But then, we'll be able to have graduates that can work towards electrical contractor's license and really just start their own business. And we're just thrilled to be able to offer that program in Chatham County, where we know Chatham County is, with Chatham Park and just everything that's happening there. Starting the building construction program a few years ago, and with this program coming, it's critical. And again, we try to listen and respond and be timely with our response in our programs that we offer here at the college. So we're excited about that. On the flip side, building construction, with this program, you'll see other short-term continuing education offerings as well. Our building construction program, the Women in Construction program continues to thrive. So you see our programs there are very diverse. They've had a National Science Foundation grant the past few years that has really sought to bring more underrepresented folks into the construction and now electrical field to be able to diversify that workforce, which is kind of a nationwide conversation. But switching over into health sciences fields, this school year we're going to start the Advanced Medical Coding Diploma as well. A few years ago, we started our Health Information Technology degree, which trains registered healthcare or registered health information technologists or technicians. So that program is going through the accreditation status right now. We've had 10 graduates of our HIT program already over the past few years. We have a visit from CAHIM, which is the Commission on Accreditation for Health Informatics and Information Management. That's a handful or a mouthful, but it's recorded, so you can get that later. So we have a accreditation visit next month, actually, which is the final step in the project process for us to become accredited for our HIT program. It takes years to become accredited. But this new diploma, the Advanced Medical Coding Diploma, is going to really complement and help the graduates of our HIT program, because it's kind of that next step to be able to, because the Advanced Medical program is a selective admission program. It gives graduates an opportunity to become credentialed coders. They can take 2 different exams, the Certified Coding Specialist exam or the Certified Coding Specialist Physician-based exam. So just to get that next step in career advancement in the HIT field. So we try to make sure that when we start a program, we don't just start it and say, hey, we got graduates, go get jobs. We want to make sure that they have other career advancement opportunities as well, and we've got those. And HIT, years ago, 2015 or so, or 2014, 2015, when we surveyed our local workforce, the local healthcare providers and our healthcare community, HIT was the #1 in our service area that they were asking for. So that program is a totally online program as well, so it's accessible, and like I said, it's only been around for a couple years, but we already have 10 graduates in the program, and it's going very, very well. So and we hope to have great news for you all about it being accredited with that program. And I can't say enough about the faculty, Erica Parker and Denise Martin and some of the faculty, because some schools have HIT and it takes 5 or 10 years to get accredited. We've had it for a few years, and we're already at one of the final stages in the accreditation process. So they've really worked through that process well, which makes your program, just more relevant and easier to, if you move, nation, or if students move out of our service area, it just really makes their credentials more relevant. Finally, as far as programming goes, last thing I'll mention is a human services degree. We've had that program for a long time, for decades, but we're adding a substance abuse track this fall. So graduates of the human services degree will be able to qualify for positions as like substance abuse counselors, DUI counselors, halfway house workers, residential facility employees. But, you know, and they'll be able to sit for the North Carolina Substance Abuse Board exam as well. So, you know, you read daily in our communities about the opioid crisis and drug addiction and overdose deaths, and especially in rural counties, and you know, not just here in North Carolina, but nationwide. So this just represents a way that CCCC has been listening. We've heard this for a number of years, and having that substance abuse track is going to be really great for that program. Finally, one thing I'll mention about some of our programs, one thing that our faculty is doing that is just really innovative, and you see this kind of becoming more and more trendy nationwide, and really, I say trendy, but really it's an effective way to serve students, is open educational resources are just all the talk right now in higher education. Cost of textbooks and required materials for students has just skyrocketed. You all, I mean, I remember when I had to pay for my textbooks. You know, it was always tough, you know, to make that decision. Do I get this book, or do I, you know, borrow it from a friend? Maybe I could share, you know, with someone else. But that just doesn't always contribute to a quality learning experience. So so OER, open educational resources, are really just a way to help, you know, our students juggle life responsibilities. They make decisions whether to take that third shift or to, you know, go to class, or the second shift, or go to the class that night. So we, our faculty last year, we charged at the beginning of last year in the spring 2018, and then during our fall meeting with our faculty, we charged them to really think about equitable student learning experiences and how OER could contribute to the student experience here. It could just break down barriers for students. And what OER is a way for, you know, faculty can read it, you know, not rely so much on a textbook that, you know, may cost a couple $100s. There's materials out there that are peer reviewed, that are accessible, that are open source, OpenStax.com, LibreText. There's a number of sources out there. We've given our faculty the resources and the tools to start talking about this. Last year, we had about 10 OER courses that were developed and launched in spring 2018. Our Center for Academic Excellence has been tracking, okay, here's how much that textbook costs. Here's how much, you know, now it's OER, there's no textbook required. Just since 2018, with about 10 OER courses, we've saved students almost $1 million in textbook costs and required course materials, which is just outstanding. And that's just 10 OER courses. There's other courses that we've had faculty have chosen to do reduced cost textbook options, where instead of requiring the hardback textbook, they have the ebook option, which is available through our bookstore, which is just a lower cost. So it's accessible within our Blackboard, our learning management system site, so the students have that on day one. But just with that limited, you know, just that kind of pilot last year, we've saved almost $1 million in textbook costs for students, which is just outstanding. So this fall, we expect to see anywhere from probably 7 to 10 more courses launched this fall. The two I'm most excited about, just because they're very high enrolled and we know it's going to have a larger impact: Psychology 150, General Psych, which if you went to college, all of us probably took it, Intro to Sociology, Sociology 210. Those are all of those sections of our courses are going to be open OER courses, so no textbook required. That's also going to save our local school systems, you know, funds in the years to come, because a lot of our dual enrollment students take, you know, gen ed courses if they're not in one of our career and technical pathways. So that is, you know, next fall when we stand up here, we'll probably be talking about multi-million-dollar savings, at least, because we're just, faculty are really taking that charge to heart. We had 5 faculty over the summer who were developing OER courses in English and a number of other disciplines, and not just gen eds, across our career and tech program. So I'm just really pleased with that, because, you know, students deserve an equitable learning experience, and that's one way to do it, just one really easy way to do it, just with the information technology age that we're in now. If the resources are there, we should be using them and really thinking forward, instead of just relying on you know, the printed textbooks that we're all used to. Finally, just to add on to something Dr. Chapman mentioned about our learning pathways, we continue to look at our transfer agreements and update our bilateral agreements. And we have, over the past year, we've revamped 7 of those guaranteed transfer agreements. So Western Governors University, East Carolina, UNC Chapel Hill, UNC Wilmington, UNC Greensboro, NC State, NC Wesleyan. Soon we're going to sign one with Fayetteville State University. So, if you go to our CC advising page, there's information about each of those transfer agreements there. But we've had our C-STEP program that Mark can tell you a little, or Provost Hall can tell you a lot more about maybe a little later. But that C-STEP program has been great for, what is it, a decade now? Almost
8 years, yes.
8 years now. So, which is a guaranteed admission program. Relationship with UNC Chapel Hill. Now other schools are starting to, the C3 program at NC State, the Pirate Promise at ECU, a number of others. We've continued to revamp those pathways and just create those seamless learning opportunities for students. So that's all I've got, and I guess Dr. Price is next.
Before Dr. Price comes up, just to let you know that we will have a question and answer session at the end, but also they will be available to speak with you during the lunch session. So feel free, if you have any questions, you'll be able to get to those. Dr. Price is our Vice President of Administrative Services, and he's going to talk to you about construction updates here at the college.
Thank you, RV. I joked a little bit this morning. Last time I was scheduled to do a construction update, I lost my voice, so Dr. Merritt had to fill in for me. And it was about 20 pages worth of construction projects. And so this morning when I sent him that, I said, I lost my voice, can you do this? He just sent back one word, nope. The reality though is we have been extremely blessed as an institution to have the support from citizens in our county, also citizens throughout the state, the support from our county commissioners, to provide us funding to do a number of projects. I mean, the facility we're sitting in here was part of our Lee County bond project where citizens in Lee County by almost 70% voted in support of these bonds. But we've had Connect NC bonds, we've had direct funding from different counties to allow us to do so many needed and projects that just provide a huge impact to our campus and to our citizens and to the programs we offer. We are wrapping up a lot of those projects, and we're getting into some, with the exception of Chatham Health Sciences, mainly smaller type projects, but still ones that have a large impact for us. So currently this summer, we've had a number of projects on our Lee County campus that have been ongoing. And while they've provided some challenges for the summer, they're going to have a big impact for many, many years to come. One of those has been our ADA sidewalk improvement project. So if you go over to campus now, you'll see we've torn up a lot of different parts of campus in an effort to make campus more accessible for our students. In the past, to get around different places, a student who happened to be handicapped would have to basically drive and park in front of the building they were going to go to. And then if they had a class somewhere else, they may have to drive again to go to the other building. Now we've got more ramps in place, we've got just a tremendous amount of improvements to that, and made our campus more the walkability of our campus improve for all of our students. We've also been undergoing a project to repaint the exterior on 6 of the buildings on our campus. We're trying to make the old blend with the new so that we bring that back. You probably have seen that even here with the Civic Center. The old existing Civic Center was painted to match this new addition. And that was an attempt to unify our campus. We've also had a couple roofing projects ongoing. One of those is a replacement of a roof on the classroom and fitness center. And we also had a roof out at our, we used to call it telecommunications building, but the Center for Workforce Innovation now. But we've replaced a number of roofs over the past few years. And we're replacing those in most part with 40-year expected life roofs. And the intent there is we want to have something that's going to last for a long time so that we're not going back to the voters or going back to the counties and asking for money to redo that. We're trying to plan long term and to ensure our facilities are kept up to date. Some of our fall projects mainly relate to our large animal portion of our veterinary medical technology program. we've been leasing a farm for at least 20 years for that portion of the program. But we do have some property located kind of on the backside of our campus that is basically a big field. So we started an entrance drive over here, which down the road will hopefully become the relocated Kelly Drive. We've got a contract right now with Sanford Contractors to extend that road so that we get into the field back there. We're also going to be doing a project pretty soon to take the infrastructure needed for the building out to that site, which will be your water, your sewer, those kind of things. And then this fall, we're going to bid actually a barn for our veterinary medical program, which is mainly, it's one classroom, and then it's got the associated facilities for equine and bovine portion of those programs. That does a number of things for us. One, it means we no longer have to lease a space for the program, which was one of the issues from an accreditation standpoint. There was concern about how long that model was sustainable. The other is our students would have to physically drive to another location for that portion of the class, whereas now it's right here on our campus. It also means that we can add some additional things to the program that maybe we haven't been able to offer in the past. In Chatham County, the major facility we've got going on there is our Chatham Health Sciences Center. It's a 40,000 square foot building up in the Briar Chapel area. We started construction on it last July and expect to complete the construction in September. As everyone's aware, there's different issues with weather, there's different issues with subcontractors and contractors and the whole 9 yards, but we are still anticipating that facility to be completed in September. Then we need to get in and upfit the building with furniture and equipment and other items. And so some of the wind programs and things like that will start, and some of that's contingent upon how long some of those pieces take. But we are very excited about that facility. In Harnett County, we've also had a number of projects there. We did a similar ADA sidewalk project there to improve walkability and accessibility of that campus. But we also had funding from the Harnett County Commissioners to repave and resurface the parking lots and the entrance drive. So we're able to rework a whole lot of the parking lots and entrances and things to that campus, which has been a big improvement to the campus and will make a big impact for our students going there. The other big project we've had going this summer has been the continuing education building on that campus. We're going through and replacing the entire heat and air system in the building, which will, replace some outdated equipment that was starting to have some failure, but also improve energy efficiency, which of course then lessens funding we may need in the future for utilities for that site. Also replacing the fire alarm system for the building. And while the building was closed for those purposes, we were thankful that Harnett County Commissioners also saw the opportunity that we saw, which was, let's go ahead and repaint the interior of the building, let's replace some of the flooring in the building, and let's bring this building back up to where it should be. That was the first building on that campus, so some of the finishes may have been original to early 1980s, so it was probably time for some of that. And next week we're going to start moving some new furniture into the building, so when our students start back, it'll be a place they'll be proud to go into, and will improve that learning environment, which we think was going to have a big impact just on learning in general in the facility. But that's the information I've got on our current projects.
Thank you. Thank you. And we'll get to the others in just one moment, but there were several other people that I wanted to introduce to you. One of them's not here right now. But that's Mr. David Foster, who's the Civic Center Director. He'll be here if you have any questions for him, but with this exciting new facility, obviously we've been very happy and pleased with all the wonderful events that's going on. And one of them was a national dog show that was actually held here. And so I know that David told me there was another dog area group that was looking for possibly another show at some point in the future. Also want to introduce to you Dr. Linda Scaletti, And Dr. Scaletti is our Vice President of Assessment, Planning, and Research, and is the lady who is most responsible for our successful SACS accreditation process. And so Dr. Scaletti will be here if you'd like to speak with her. And Dr. Marcy Dishman, who is our Associate Vice President of Marketing and External Relations, and my boss. So if you have any complaints about my work, that's the lady to see. So, okay. So next, we'd like to introduce to you Dr. Mark Hall, who is Provost of Chatham County, who will talk about all the good things happening there.
Thank you, RB. The great thing about going fifth is that I get to highlight what they haven't yet and get to cross off everything that they have. I was just sitting there taking notes because that's just the type of person I am. And I think some of the things you've heard are we listen to our communities and to our region. We partner with people and we make things happen. And I think that's what we're doing in Chatham County. The programs that Dr. Barrett mentioned, electrical systems technology and the building construction we brought on a couple years ago, and even sustainable tech, sustainable agriculture, all those programs came to us from feedback from our stakeholders in the community. In fact, sustainable agriculture started off as just a couple of continuing education courses. So farmers wanted to know more about organic practices back in the 90s, and then it grew into a program. And that's what we're doing with the construction trades. Everyone mentions Chatham Park, but there's, for years now, when I moved to, I've actually been in college for 15 years, but when I moved to Chatham to get some work done on my house, I had to get people outside the county to come in. There was no one in the county. So that was my first clue. And then I was introduced to people from Newland communities, and then Briar Chapel, well, that's Briar Chapel, and then also Chatham Park, and I realized the construction boom that's just on the tip that was going there. And with some help from people in Sanford, we developed these programs. We're continuing to add on to it. And the vision is to ultimately have like a construction trades whole campus there. In addition, we already do really well, sustainable agriculture, sustainable technology, university transfer. Those things we already have as foundations. We hope to continue to build these construction trades on that. That also speaks to some of the things that the county staff have come to me for. They really need inspectors. And so that's this fall, some of the continuing education classes we have that are related to construction involve licensed preparatory classes for building inspectors. Which if you know anything about that industry, one, you just need to be able to, you need some training, you need to be able to pass the test, and you can have a upper mobile job. What I mean by that is that they're going to make more than the average wage. I'm not going to say income because Chatham County has some high income from retirement, but average wage, they're going to far surpass the average wage in Chatham County by being building inspectors for Chatham County. So that's kind of what we're trying to do there, and that's why we have things like blueprint reading, building inspector 1, general contract license preparation, introduction to electricity, introduction to masonry, women in construction, welding over inside our city, and that's industrial welding, MIG 1. We're also continuing to do all the great things we do on the creative side with dance classes, creative writing, ceramics, artistic welding. This all kind of builds into the spirit of what we're trying to do there, is prepare rich people, like Dr. Chapman was indicating, but also prepare them for workforce. Because we do have a artist community in Chatham County, and they get to hone their skills there. Unlike Dr. Merritt, I'm way off script at this point in time, so I gotta look at my notes real quickly and make sure that I'm hitting all the. So we talked about partnerships, and then he mentioned one of the ones that I've been coordinating for a long time, and that's C-STEP, which is Carolina Student Transfer Excellence Program. It's one of about 7 programs we have now with this college. But the really great thing about that program and the other ones like C3 and Spartan Passage, which I think that's UNCG, those give students the opportunity to save a lot of money by coming to a high quality institution with us and then transfer. What wasn't mentioned are also some of the conversations we have with other schools. Several years ago, we had a student go, an agricultural student go to Cornell. So you can, we had a t-shirt a couple years ago, start here, go anywhere, hopefully come back as well, so you can continue to have thriving communities here, which is what our goal is. Some of the partnerships, locally we have, Mr. Wade is going to speak about this later on, but all 3 counties have the Promise program, and that's because of the just support that we all have from each county. In Chatham County, that's yielding. We've had about 150 confirmed students that we can support through that program, and so that's really great. In fact, I was looking at the overall head count from people who came from who have a home address in Chatham County, and we're up by a couple hundred from last year. And I'd like to think some of that's just from that sort of forward-thinking thought about having that free tuition to our recent high school graduates. And that came from support from the county commissioners. It also came from support from our county schools. It was another one of great partnerships. So this year, the Chatham School of Science and Engineering, which is the Chatham County Schools Innovative High School / Early College, much like LAC here, we will have about 45 or 50 students on the Chatham main campus in Pittsburgh. The freshmen and sophomores have full classes, and they're over in Sour City at some sites there. So that's a really successful program. We're trying to do what we're doing in other counties to give those students opportunities to accelerate their education and go where they need to go. Checking on, and actually, one of the problems is a good problem to have. We're having to open new sections of classes last week and this week just because of the enrollment growth we've had in Chatham, which is really great. And as it has been mentioned, we'll be opening the Chatham Health Science Center at some point in time, hopefully in the near future. But in short, we're continuing all the great things in Chatham, and then we're adding on top of that great foundation, and we just really appreciate the support we get from everyone. And I'm going to turn it over, but I want to say before I do, because I did work at the college for 15 years, and I actually started off in Harnett County, got to work at the campus there, worked in the prison, spent many years here in Sanford, but I was a teacher for about a decade, and I really appreciate the attention that you guys have given to all the speakers, because we're about 50 minutes into this. I don't see the eyes glazed over yet, so I want to say thank you guys all for your attention. Would you like me to answer?
Sure.
So I would like to. I would actually. It's actually my privilege. There's several people on this table here that I would consider mentors. Dr. Matthews is one of my mentors, whether he knew that or not. For many years, he served as my dean when I was an instructor. Now serves as my my complaining partner on Fridays when we call each other out to talk about our weeks. But it's not about you. It's not about you.
I'm just checking. Okay.
But I would like to introduce the Harnett County Provost, Dr. John Matthews. Excellent man. Good to know.
Thank you, Mark. You're going to embarrass me. Greetings. Good to have you here today. Rick, good to see you. Rick and I spent a lot of time together down in Harnett County. There is a lot of good stuff going on. One of the phrases I've used recently in talking to people in the community about what we are, what we do, is we are in the community, of the community, and for the community. That, in essence, is the community college mission. Things going on in Harnett County. You've heard about the Promise program. You've heard about the Promise program in general. In Harnett County, it's gone gangbusters. From the grassroots level and up, we had a lot of interest from day one. Have to give full credit to the Harnett Board of Commissioners for taking this opportunity, making it happen. And how has it happened? As of today, 227 confirmed participants in Harnett County Promise. Now, in fairness, Harnett County is the most populous of the 3 counties, so that shouldn't be a big surprise. But it's nice to know that we have 227 full-time credential-seeking students that will be starting this fall in Harnett County. Harnett County Early College is Harnett County's first and currently only innovative high school. So in partnership with the Harnett County Board of Education, Harnett County Schools, and Dr. Eric Fleming, the superintendent, we're entering our 3rd year of operation as a partner with Harnett County Early College. And what's really cool about this year that's got me really excited is for the first time, we're going to have a cohort of students from the Early College High School on Harnett main campus attending full-time from early morning until mid-afternoon. They'll be with us all day. And here's why that's important. Early college students, by the nature of the design of innovative high schools, will have the opportunity to not just get a high school credential, but also a college credential. But one of the benefits of dual enrollment as a participatory activity is the term that I'll call them the education nerds, call it acculturation to college. So it's not simply about earning academic credit. It's about the emotional maturity that goes along with being in a college environment. It's hard to get that from a computer lab in high school. You can get some of it, but you get it in its full complement when a student shows up to a college campus, participates, interacts, and engages with college faculty, staff, and most importantly, fellow students, traditional students. And so we'll have about 30 of the early college high school students on Harnett main campus starting in August. So it's kind of nice to know that I don't get to see them simply by going to that site in Dunn, where they're on our Dunn Center campus, but I get to see some of them every day. And these are the ones that I've actually seen off and on for the last 2 years. So very excited about that. We have, I've been branding it as kind of a rebirth of continuing education in Harnett County. And it's a slight exaggeration, but I do that for effect. When we brought Pamela Fincher over to Harnett County, to Harnett main campus to serve as the director of continuing education, gave her the mission of, I want to expand continuing education in a meaningful and robust way in response to the constituents and the employers in the county. And she took it seriously. And to date, just in the last year, we've offered new continuing education courses in MIG welding and TIG welding, electrical wiring fundamentals, small engine repair, basic electronics, and we even did a pilot ground school for potential pilot trainees. This is the classroom course where you learn all the terminology behind aviation, so that if you're still interested, you might eventually enter an actual pilot training school. And these are things that we've not done in that manner in a while, or we've never done them in recent history. And they were fully enrolled, and we got good feedback from those. And how did we know to do those? We listened. We listened to the employers, we listened to the public, and said, what do you want to learn? Near future offerings will include machining fundamentals, heavy machine equipment operator, and more of an industry certification angle on welding, and some biotech training. And some of you, or maybe all of you, know that Cryogen Pharmaceuticals has set up a facility in Lillington at the former Edwards Publishing Company plant, and they're going to make product there for the pharma industry. And part of that ramp up is their employees are going to need some training. And so we're already have been at the table with them for several months now, talking about some customized training for their employees. And that's a relationship that I think will endure, and it will sustain itself, because as that company grows and becomes a viable and robust industry within Harnett County, we'll be there to provide the training needs for them. So they have already, for the last several months, been talking to us about what they think they'll need as they ramp up to full production. A program that some of you are aware of that existed in Lee County at the old Emergency Services Training Center, or at the Emergency Services Training Center for several years, moved to Harnett County. Auto restoration and a sister program, collision repair and refinishing, was launched at the West Harnett Center over in the Spout Springs area off of Highway 87 in January. That's when we opened the building. And if you've never actually seen these students at work, it'll blow you away, because they literally learn how to take a car down to the bare bones and rebuild it, literally from the tires up. And they're so good at what they do. We had students and our faculty from that center take a mobile demonstration. They got a booth at the Good Guys Car Show, which is the largest classic car show in the country, at their Raleigh car show. And they were surrounded by people that marveled as one of our students, a young homeschooled teenager who's enrolled in our programs as dual enrollment, demonstrated how to use an English wheel to shape a piece of metal. And it was so remarkable that employers that actually have auto restoration businesses began calling to say, I have open vacancies that I can't fill. I can't just hire someone that went through a basic auto tech program. This is a niche skill set. I need it. And so now we have calls in for that unique kind of program that seems like a personal interest program, but it actually has an employment dimension to it. So I'm glad to see that's launched, up and running. Our faculty have done a yeoman's job there, getting that site to full capacity. Finally, enrollment overall in the count at our Harnett main campus and our sites overall is expected to increase. I took a look at the section numbers yesterday, and I'm seeing sections closed out earlier than they normally would be. In fact, I'm teaching a section of a class this semester, And I looked at the numbers and my eyeballs almost fell off. I said, room's going to be full. Got a lot of names for it. And that's a good sign. People are taking advantage of the opportunities available to them. Dr. Price mentioned briefly the project to enhance accessibility. We have had students on our campus that had some accessibility challenges. And it's a very different thing to look at a list on a sheet of paper for ADA compliance and check boxes, and then get to know students who have those challenges. When you get to know the students that have the challenges and you're working with them every day to overcome those obstacles, it becomes real. And so I appreciate all the support from the staff and our administrative services team to help make that happen, because it has paid dividends already and will continue to. A couple of anecdotes. One, it's a did you know? Did you know that Campbell Medical School students actually come to our Health Sciences Center in Lillington and receive EMT training early on in their medical school studies as a way to give them some clinical practice? They started that a couple of years ago. Dean Godfrey helped set that up, and our director down in Harnett, Lenny Stevenson, really coordinated that. But it's remarkable to see those med school students said, hey, I went there for EMT training. You guys did a great job. Pretty remarkable when you think about it. And finally, I'm like Dr. Chapman. I like personal anecdotes because I think they lend a sense of realism to what's going on. Dual enrollment and through Central Carolina Work Central Carolina Promise is meaningful in a lot of ways. My daughter's getting ready to start as a freshman in East Carolina, and she's walking in the door 24 credit hours that she earned while she was a student at both Western Harnett High School and Central Carolina Community College. So it meant a lot to my family that she had that opportunity. And finally, I'll leave you with this. 17 years ago, when I was a rookie instructor out of the IT industry teaching business classes at Harnett Correctional Institution, I inherited a second-year cohort in the AAS business program there. And one of my degree students that was finishing his last year told me that he was hoping to get something out of that degree so that when he got out of prison, that he could really make something useful out of his life and kind of have a rebirth, personal rebirth. He came by my office the other day, and he's been out for several years. He's helping to raise a granddaughter. He's a supervisor in a neighboring county and supervising about a dozen people, kind of a first call kind of person. And he said, my life is so much better today than it was before. It was because I had the opportunity to get that education while I was incarcerated. And that made the difference. He said, now as I'm helping raise my granddaughter, I can show her the value of getting an education. And I can tell her, it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter where you come from, that the community colleges offer that opportunity. So anyway, appreciate it for your minutes of your time. And I'm introducing, I guess, Vice President Ken Hoyle is the Vice President of Student Services and a mentor of mine.
Thank you, sir.
Can you hand this out for me? All right, I would like to say welcome. I have not been here quite as long as Lisa Chapman, but close.
That's a good way to start.
Now, I'll be honest with you, at the time that Dr. Chapman and I came employed here, in all honesty, there was a very heavy slant, the upper administration, toward the NC State Wolfpack. And I'd been here about 2 weeks, and she came and sought me out. She said, I'm so glad you're here. I hear you're a Tar Heel. I need the help. So I've been working with Dr. Chapman on academic things and Tar Heel things all this time. And like Dr. Chapman and like Dr. Matthews, my family has personally benefited from this college as well, which means so much to me. I have my youngest son at Chapel Hill, and he is double majoring and also adding a minor. And of course, his program of study is extremely tight. And he was able to come here this summer and take 10 semester hours, all A's, and he is going to stay on track and get his double major and his minor in 4 years because of this college. My middle son came here because I had him talk to Provost Hall about the C-STEP program. Of course, he thinks Mark Hall walks on water, you know, taking him to these basketball games and football games and everything. But he was able to transfer to the journalism school up at Chapel Hill, and he's going to start there next week. So from my family's perspective, it means a whole lot to us. And it also, I think, adds a lot of credibility when I work with a student. I'm able to say, you know, what we're selling here, I can tell you I have consumed myself, and it is worth your time. And it is money well spent to get your education or get your start here. So we'll talk about student services. I've prepared a handout there. We are a very large division with a lot of comprehensive services, and we have a presence in all 3 counties. And I am very fortunate to have the assistance of the 2 county provosts to help me administer parts of my programs in their counties, because simply I cannot be everywhere. And I did not make the mistake. I made the intention of giving them my cell number when they got their jobs, and believe me, they can find me. And we talk practically daily whenever the classes are in session. And I appreciate their help so much. And to give you some reference on where we are with the academic calendar, classes are going to be starting on August the 19th. My division has processed 4,842 applications for this semester, with 1,490 of those being CCP applications with the high school students. And we have pre-registered 5,070 students for this coming semester, with 1,982 being CCP students. So if you look there at the handout, there at the top, these are my departments, and I want to include the names of the administrator in charge of those departments or the contact person. So if you ever need to make contact or get expert opinion like RV was referring to, these are the people who can help you with that. And so what we basically do in student services is work with applicants to turn them into students. And once we make them students and they're part of the student body, we engage with them at the very, very beginning, and we stay engaged with them until they graduate. We go ahead and start talking right up front about what are your career aspirations? What are your long-term plans? What are your current skills? What skills do you want to obtain? And what overall needs do you have to be successful to get to graduation? And, you know, Dr. Merritt has an extensive faculty. They do a lot of advising. And so you may want to ask the question, do you ever turn loose of a student from student services? And the answer to that is no. And it is a deliberate no. Because the last thing that I want to see, and I'm speaking for Lisa Chapman too, the last thing I want to see is going into the grocery store, I'm seeing somebody bagging groceries, stocking a shelf, and I know they're from the college, and they say, well, I couldn't pay for my books. I couldn't get any help with my baby. I couldn't get any help with my algebra, so, you know, I just quit and I'm doing this. These are very, very solvable problems that my department can help them with. But we don't know about the problem, and we can't solve it unless we know about it. And the only way to know about it is to have a relationship with the student. And that way we can work it up the chain and solve the problem. So we have the functions there at the lower part of the handout that explain what it is that we do. And they're all designed to not only meet student needs, but to keep the students engaged with at least someone or some department here. So we can involve other departments, other divisions, so we can say, hey, we have a student at risk here. What can we do? A lot of times we involve the foundation with that, and they're able to help out. But the big things that we're working on right now as we speak are the admissions process, the transfer assistance, enrollment verification, registration, things of that nature. And that's something that Mr. Wade, who is my director of admissions, is we were able to pull him away today because his lobby it's a good thing though, but it's slam full. But that's what he is working on at the current time because of the time of the year and the classes are going to be starting so soon. So this is student services kind of in a nutshell. If there's any question you may have, you can contact me or you can contact the people on here. I'm certainly glad to see everybody. I know so many of you. My number and email are on there. I'll be happy to talk to you at any time. I'm going to turn things over to Adam to really give a full explanation about the K-14 Promise Program, this new initiative that we have now rolled out in all 3 counties. He's done a great job with it. It's been very popular, and so he's got a lot of numbers that he's been crunching on. But I have to say this. I've been buddies with RV for a long time, and he does a good job keeping us in line. He pulled me to the side and he said, Ken, do look on the agenda. He said, you're the last one. He said, I'm not telling you what to do, but there's only 2 things between these people and lunch, and that's you and Adam. I said, say no more. I get the hint. So Adam, if you'll come forward and tell us about K-14. Thank you.
Okay, that's a lot of pressure, so I'm going to try to be quick. So I first wanted to, Ken briefly talked about our admissions process and our registration numbers for this coming up fall semester. So I wanted to highlight our admissions process. Before I talked a little bit about the Promise program. There's still enough time for students to come to us and complete the entire process and get advised and registered for classes in time for August 19th. We also have multiple start dates for our fall semester, so if students don't end up making it in time, we've got lots of classes and options for them to take advantage of, and either in a 12 or 8-week section, or even in a short-term training schedule. So I did want to highlight a couple of our admissions processes, and Ken mentioned this in our career exploration. One of the big pieces of our admissions process is that we require students to complete a short career assessment on the front end. So before they even meet with an admission specialist or an advisor, we have had them take a short career assessment. And we're sort of talking through what their career choices and what their major choices, just so that we're making sure that we're getting them in the right career pathway from the very beginning, and sort of talking about all of their options before we are actually advising and registering them. So we did want to highlight that very quickly. I also wanted to highlight our Promise program, and I've got some of these specific to each county. Our Central Carolina Promise program is in its first year in all 3 of our counties. And like Provost Hall and Provost Matthews mentioned, it is in all 3 counties. We appreciate the funding from our local county governments and helping fund this scholarship. The Promise program is a 2-year scholarship that provides 2 years of free tuition to students towards a degree, a diploma, or a certificate while they're here at Central Carolina. There are certain requirements that students must meet in order to be eligible for the Promise program. Number 1, they have to live in that specific county. So if they're, as an example, if they're applying for the Harnett County Promise program, they have to live in Harnett County. They have to graduate from a Harnett County or Chatham or Lee County high school, so that can be public, private, homeschool, or charter school. And in Lee County this year, they have to have at least 12 credit hours of Career and College Promise credit, or that dual enrollment credit as a high school student. In the coming year, so next year, 2020, we'll require all 3 counties to have some sort of CCP credit in order to apply. So our numbers for this year, it's been really, really popular. We received close to about 700 applications for this program. As of this morning, we've fully accepted, meaning students have completed all the necessary requirements for the program, 472. Our largest county, like Provost Matthews mentioned, are coming from Harnett County, so 227 applications. In Chatham, we've got 148, and in Lee, we have 97. And that number is growing by the minute. So we'll probably continue to add students to that list probably in the next couple of days. I think I hit the high points of our Promise program. The one thing that I will re-emphasize is that in the coming year, all 3 counties will have, the students that apply to that program will be required to have some sort of, some amount of Career College Promise credit in order to apply. That's that dual enrollment credit while they're in high school. So thank you very much. I was quick enough, I think, so.
You won't believe it, he's right on time. Wow. Thank you so much to each of you. Are there any questions that you would have for anybody on our panel? And of course, they will be available during lunch as well. But if you have any open questions now, we'll entertain those. Okay.
Dr. Chapman, you specifically, I know that Dr. Marchant was a very integral part of this community, Lee County. How do you plan to step into that? I'm sure you're not going to, I'm not going to try to replace him, I'm not going to try to do the same thing. But how do you plan to step into that role and be a figure in the community, not just in Lee County, but in Chapman Harnett as well?
So you are absolutely right. I am not going to try to replace him, because one of the things that I would say about Dr. Marchant is it was amazing to see how quickly someone who had not spent years in this community became a part of the community. Everything he did, I think, with helping connect the college with many of those partners that we all have been talking about, everything was critically important to help us to get to where we are today in terms of our serving our students and serving our workforce needs as well. The approach that I have taken, obviously I've lived in Lee County for, well, we'll go back, it was 10, is that what we said it was? I lived in Lee County for many, many years, and my family is a part of the county, and in a lot of ways, you might know, people know me better as Brandon's mom or Jeff's wife because of all the work they have done in the county. But I will and am engaging with all of our economic development partners in all of our chamber meetings, the policy luncheons. We also haven't talked at all about our foundation, but Emily Hare, Dr. Hare, who directs our foundation, also helps me connect with some of the folks I may not have known in Lee County, and we've had some opportunities for me to get together with some of the groups there. I work really closely with our commissioners and the leaders throughout all of the local government to make sure that when the college needs to be represented and needs to be engaged, I'm there. That is the same process I am taking in the other 2 counties. My connection there, now, as Dr. Hall mentioned, if you've been a faculty here for any number of years, you've probably taught in all 3 counties. So I was the only biology instructor when I first came here, so I would start the day sometimes in Harnett, then come to Lee, then go to Chapman, and might come back to one of the other counties as well. So I'd had some opportunity to connect then, but Dr. Matthews and Dr. Hall are also very good at ensuring that I have the opportunity to meet with folks who need to appreciate the fact that I know what our role is in the community and that we want to serve. We're good at serving. We're a first-class opportunity for our students and our communities. And so they help me specifically engage in those communities in the same way that I'm much more comfortable doing here in Lee County because I've been here for many, many years.
Sure.
Dr. Price, what was the financial investment from CCCC into the different projects that you spoke about?
If you want, I can kind of just walk through the list. Lee County project, the ADA sidewalk project, that was a Connect NC bond project. The total on it's going to wind up being about $490,000 or so when it's all said and done. Exterior building painting project was some Lee County bond funds for repair and innovation, and that was wound up somewhere approximately $90,000. The roofing projects, Classroom Fitness Center, also Workforce Innovation. I don't have the exact numbers, but it's approximately $300,000 for each one of those, and that was Connect NC bond funds for those 2. Projects for this fall associated with the large animal facility, those are all the vet med bond that was a Lee County bond from a few years back. Total, it's going to be about $1 million. That's for all the different pieces that are there. Chatham County project, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but that's about a $11–12 million.
$2 million from the state.
Yeah, it's 2.1 million in Connect NC, and the remainder coming from Chatham County government. And Harnett County, the ADA sidewalk and parking lot improvement project, that's a dual source project. 100,000 of that was Connect NC bond funds, and 160,000 of that was direct appropriation from Harnett County commissioners for the, actually that was for the parking lot driveway piece of it, but it's a dual funded project. The continuing ed building is also a dual funded. The heat and air piece of that was about $500,000 of Connect NC bond funds. The interior retrofit piece of it was about $100,000 from Harnett County as part of their appropriation from this current year.
I don't have a question, I would like to make a comment. Sure. When I served as a trustee, we started this Sunshine Committee, and Civic, a lot of community college helps kids in so many ways besides academic, because in the Sunshine Committee, there were so many kids, sometimes they had more month than money, so that money was put aside so that they could maybe get a tank of gas or a tire. And now when I walk into Emily Hare's office and see all that grocery, we know that the kids at CCCC are not going hungry. So now I've even started asking people, would you give us grocery to take to the college? Because some of those kids might be hungry before the month is over. And she's bagging up groceries, giving it to these kids when they come in so they can get their work. But if you're hungry, you can't do very good work.
Right. That's right.
Just if I may, and that program actually exists in all 3 main campuses. So
Right.
it's in all 3 counties. And you're absolutely right, it does help our students get through the day.
And it is a bigger problem than people realize.
I know.
I think we've probably even grew upon the Sunshine Committee since you were here, or since you were part of it. We now have what we call a Dreamkeeper Fund. So it's a short-term grant project that provides small stipends to students in need in lots of different areas. So if it's a tank of gas, or their tire is flat or something, just to get them through and continuing to come to class and continuing their education. We do provide small amounts of money to temporary funds that can continue to keep students going.
Any other questions? Sure.
Yeah, I just had a comment, RV, to basically to Rob Matthews. Last summer, I bought an older model car, and it was a little rough in the body, and finally saved up enough money to get it painted this summer. And a young man by the name of Maurice Johnson, he owns his own business. It's down on Maple Avenue. The name of the business is Custom Colors, and it's a wonderful job. I understand that he had served time in prison, and he's a minority. He owns his own business now. I looked in his office. He's got a little CCCC, all the restoration diploma in there. It's a real success story. He's employs 3, 4, 5 guys down there. Just what you were talking about, the 7 points that you hit on there. Just wanted to mention that. And the car is outside if anyone wants to look at it. It was really great, and he was like way less expensive than the other established body shops. So.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that. Any other? Sure.
Yeah, I have a comment, 2 comments, I guess, as opposed to a question. First, I want to say I've lived and worked in the area for 30 years and have been aware of and connected in various ways with the community college throughout that time. I want to commend the college and you as its representatives for all you have going on. And it's amazing to sit here and hear about all the programs and the connections with the community and the priorities and so on. So I applaud you all. And I'm sure everybody here shares in that sentiment, so thank you. Second thing I would say is that I understand that you spend a lot of time and energy thinking about connecting with stakeholders, as you've called them, and serving their needs. I would say that I would encourage you along the way to, and I'm saying this because the college is obviously well represented here and you folks are in tremendous positions of influence. I would encourage you to think also about being maybe proactive as opposed to what I might call reactive. I would encourage your proactive sentiments to the extent that you have them, because we obviously have a lot of issues in our society generally. And you're in a position to make a difference and respond to those issues. And I have in mind things ranging from climate change to race relations. You're in a position to make a difference, and I would encourage you to pursue whatever visions you have in those areas too, because you can make a difference. But thank you for what you're doing.
We appreciate you being here today. There'll still be more times for questions and answers. As I said, the panel will be having lunch with us. I did want to introduce Mr. David Foster. Come on in, David. And David is the director of our Civic Center, so if you have any questions of David, and he does an extraordinary job here at the Civic Center. Before we have lunch, Chairman Philpott would like to speak to you for just a moment.
I just would have one comment. And talking about being proactive, I think our trustees, our administration, I mean, we do talk about these things all the time about what do we need to do. It's not just being reactive. We do want to be proactive. But I will tell you and Margaret Murchison was on the board, and all the trustees, the past trustees, I will say, we've all been dedicated to making Central Carolina Community College the best college it can be, from all three counties. And I've been on a number of boards. This board, from day one that I've been on it, and I know it was true when Margaret was on there, we've had people, luckily, who have been dedicated to having the best educational experience we can possibly have for the people coming to this college. And that's, I don't think that is ever going to change. But I wanted to say before we broke up and got into smaller groups, we couldn't ask for an administration and faculty that are more dedicated, more dynamic, and inspirational than the ones that we have at this college right now. And I think when we take a look at it, the success that our students have, they're the ones that make the difference. And as we look, and since this is going to be shown in a number of places, as a trustee, I have to say, I and our other trustees have been pushing hard to try and get our folks more money. They are here because they care. It's not just about the money for them, because as we look at it, we've done a pretty good job in North Carolina in the last several years of trying to get the K-12 teachers' salaries up, and the universities fairly well. Our folks hadn't had a cost of living increase since 2007. These folks are here because they're dedicated to changing people's lives, which helps change our communities for the better. And I couldn't be more proud of them, and I want to make sure that while this is being recorded, and there are going to be a lot of other people besides you folks who are going to see this and hear it, we are extremely proud of you folks. So, they are dynamic, they're dedicated, and they're inspirational. And we see that they inspire me every day. So it's not hard for me to be a cheerleader in their behalf and for our student body. But the proof is how successful our students are when they go out. And, we just thank you folks for being here so you can help spread our message.
Well, thanks again. We're having lunch in the room next door, so please help yourself. Our panel will be here, Dr. Scaletti, Dr. Dishman. Feel free to ask them any other questions that you may have. And thank you for coming today. And don't forget, you have my card, so if you ever need me, call me.